"Hey, Ketchup, catch up!" laughed Donner and Blitzen, known as older brothers, while they frolicked during the sunny summer days at the North Pole. In the summertime, the reindeer almost always play running and flying type games, because all of Santa's reindeer can fly, and it helps keep them healthy and strong to pull Santa's sleigh at Christmas time. And well, the reindeer simply enjoy frolicking and chasing each other. Little sister reindeer Nona was never very fast when playing reindeer games, although she loved to play with all the other reindeer. In fact, she was always so slow, that's how she got her name Ketchup. At least that's the name that everyone except Santa and Mrs. Claus called her, although sometimes Santa would slip up and call her Ketchup, which made her smile. She liked having a nickname which everyone knew. Even the elves who make the toys that fill Santa's big sack called her Ketchup the Slowpoke, although she could run faster than any of the elves, who of course only had 2 legs to run with. The other reindeer could all run faster than Ketchup, so you know that they too all playfully teased her about being slow. But Ketchup always says, "I don't mind teasing because it's all fun. I know I can't run or fly very fast, but my job, along with the other small reindeer, is to help load Santa's sleigh with the toys that the elves make. I don't have to be very fast for that. We just need to get the job done. It's an important job too, because Santa is busy putting the harness on Donner, Blitzen, and the other big reindeer, getting them ready to make the visits on Christmas Eve." Although loading the sleigh was hard work, Ketchup was a good worker. She enjoyed the work and never got tired. When Ketchup would talk with Donner and Blitzen about the Christmas adventure her brothers enjoyed when they helped pull Santa's sleigh, she would listen to how they always wanted to pull from the 2 rear positions. The last 2 reindeer in the harness had the sometimes difficult job of controlling the sleigh when landing on slippery rooftops, and of course, it was closer to Santa. Ketchup daydreamed, "I wish I could help Santa some Christmas Eve in bringing the toys to the children of the world," but she knew the bigger, stronger reindeer could do a better job. As it turned out, one Christmas Eve, Santa was a little behind schedule because 3 of his elves got sick at the same time, and the other elves and reindeer couldn't make all the toys on time and get them packed and ready to go into Santa's sleigh. When Santa was ready to leave, toys were strewn on the shop floor, behind doors and behind the elves' workbenches, where they couldn't be seen very well. The elves and other reindeers snatched up what they could find, placed the toys in Santa's big sack, and stood outside the shop, as they did each year, to wave goodbye to Santa as his sleigh took off. Ketchup shouted to Santa from the doorway of the toy shop, "I'll make one last look around in the elves' workshop to check if they have all the toys." And she went back to look. But Santa was busy, and in the commotion, he didn't see or hear Ketchup, and he continued harnessing the reindeer and made the last preparations. The sleigh was ready, or so Santa thought. Mrs. Claus gave Santa a big hug and wished him a good trip and said not to get too dirty when climbing down chimneys. Ketchup, meanwhile, was finding toys in the shop corners and behind tables, and was able to fill a little sack full of toys that the elves and other reindeer had missed. When Ketchup ran back outside with her little sack, she saw the back of Santa's sleigh just lifting off for the long trip. "Santa, wait! I found more toys that need to be put in your sack!" She shouted out, but again, Santa could not hear her. In moments, the sleigh was so far away, it looked no bigger than a spark in the sky. Without thinking, Ketchup flew after Santa, hoping to catch up with his sleigh, but she was too slow. Her big brothers and the other big reindeer pulled the sleigh really fast. Then she just tried to keep the sleigh in sight. She thought, "When Santa makes his first stop, I can give him the rest of the toys." But when Santa's sleigh got so far ahead, she got the dot in the sky mixed up with the shooting star. Ketchup tried to follow the star, thinking it was Santa's sleigh. It didn't matter if Ketchup was slow or fast. Nobody can keep up with a shooting star. Ketchup lost sight of the shooting star and Santa's sleigh. None of the other stars appeared to be moving. Ketchup was very lost, but she came up with a plan. "I'll just stop and wait somewhere for Santa," she said to herself. "He has to come by sooner or later. I'll give him the sack of toys when he gets there." Ketchup then thought about what might be the best place to wait. She did not want to wait in some big city where she might not see Santa if he landed on top of a big apartment house. Ketchup decided to wait in some little village where she could be sure to see him when the sleigh landed on one of the rooftops. She found a dark, quiet village with very few houses. There were hardly any lights except for some Christmas tree lights glowing softly through house windows. With little to do but wait for Santa, and while everyone was still asleep, Ketchup decided to poke around the village, looking into windows of all the little homes for one reason, just to make sure Santa hadn't been there yet. Seeing no toys under the trees, she knew that Santa had not yet been there. What Ketchup did see, however, made her a little sad. "Golly," she said to herself, "there are hardly any ornaments on these trees, and some of them are broken and more than half of the Christmas lights are missing." In 3 of the homes, all the tree decorations were homemade out of old newspapers, and there were no lights at all. "These families must be really poor," she thought. Ketchup wished that Santa might give the poor children in this village all the toys that were in her little sack. She thought about which toys might look nice under which tree, then she waited. She waited a long time for Santa, sometimes pressing her nose against the windows of the little houses, looking in at all the Christmas trees without presents beneath them. Then she would again rummage through her sack, looking at the toys that she brought, thinking, "I know just which toys to put under each tree. Under this tree," she thought, looking through the window, "I would put a book, a top, a yo-yo, and a pair of warm socks." Ketchup yawned. It was getting very late. So much time had passed. "I hope Santa gets here soon," she thought. Although her winter fur had all grown in, she was getting a little bit chilly, and shivered from being tired and out in the cold all night. She snuggled up with her little sack of toys to stay warm, until she noticed the dawn breaking in the east, and then realized that Santa must already be on his way back to the North Pole. What to do? Did she fall asleep and miss him? She quickly looked again into the windows. "Nope," she mumbled to herself. "Santa hasn't been here. There still aren't any toys beneath the Christmas trees." Ketchup might have been slow, but she was a smart reindeer. She thought, "Santa brings all the toys to all the children of the world. If Santa didn't come here, he must not know about this little village, so it can't be on his map." Then she really felt bad. "That means," she said to herself, almost out loud, "if Santa doesn't know about this village, these poor children never get any of Santa's Christmas presents. I'm going to give the toys in my little bag to these poor kids." Ketchup couldn't get down chimneys, but during talks with her big brothers, Ketchup learned from Blitzen Santa's trick for getting into the homes which didn't have chimneys. While it was still a little dark, she used that old trick and went about putting all the toys from her tiny sack under all the Christmas trees, just as she earlier had thought about it. Then she flew back to the North Pole with an empty sack to tell Santa her story. When Ketchup got back from the North Pole, she ran to Santa, who was having a bowl of warm soup, and asked about the little village where she had spent the night. She went with Santa to his big map to show him where she had been. Sure enough, Santa did not have a village on his map in that spot. He thought, if I didn't have this little village on my map, how do I know I have all the little villages? There could be other villagers that I don't know about. "Nona," he said, "that was a good thing you did last night. Next Christmas Eve, would you take another little sack of toys with you? Take the map and go to the world's dark areas where there are few, if any, lights, and where it's hard to see from up in the air when we're going fast. See if you could find other little villages that aren't on the map." "You bet," said Ketchup. "I'll even look for houses or cabins outside of the villages. I've been dreaming about helping you deliver the toys like my big brothers and the other reindeers do. I can't wait to tell Donder and Blitzen." And that's how it happened. You and I will never see Ketchup on Christmas Eve, because she's always busy looking for little villages, pueblos, and small communities that might not be on Santa's map. She always carries a small bag of toys just in case she needs to place some of them under a poor little boy or girl's Christmas tree for the first time. There's something else the world's children need to know. Because Ketchup always takes some of the toys with her on Christmas Eve, if you didn't get everything you were hoping for on Christmas, it's probably because Ketchup picked that toy to put in her sack, and she gave it to a little boy or girl that for the first time ever got a Christmas present.